Let's get a little nerdy and talk about infrastructure and regulation. My name's Craig Wright. I'm CEO of Continue IT Solutions. One of the core services that we do is cloud hosting, and we do that across the nation. So the topics of net neutrality and the realities around that is something I'm very familiar with. Net neutrality is the concept that all data must be treated the same. All ISPs and governments regulating the internet must treat every bit the same. The problem is this catalyst, this internet revolution that has made so much societal transformation will be harmed by ISPs and other entities that will be demanding payments for websites not to be blocked or to be slowed. This means that all websites and applications and services must be given the same speeds. There is the saying that all bits are equal. Now this means that no faster speeds are allowed for special services such as voice calls or streaming or other future services. And this even means possibly, theoretically, that cable providers can't provide cable TV and internet over the same connections. Now, a lot of people are very concerned about this. It's become a very big movement, and it's been led by the largest companies in the world. The internet itself was evolved from a philosophy of open access, and it's extremely important to its future. But with so much energy behind this movement, there must be a tremendous amount of violations that are going on. So the first one we look at is 2008 BitTorrent sued Comcast over their file sharing service. Now, BitTorrent is one of those services where people share files. About 70% of it is illegal content. It's media, it's DVDs, it's application, that sort of things. Comcast admitted to slowing the BitTorrent traffic down for management purposes to keep your average web browsing and that sort of thing working. So the FCC ruled that this was illegal. So while in appeal, Comcast settled out of court and agreed not to block BitTorrent traffic. So what the end result is that Comcast and then other industries or other ISPs began to cap traffic for all users. In 2014, Netflix users complained about slow access to Netflix and Comcast. People today still believe that Comcast was purposely slowing Netflix down. So this is where we go into a little bit about peering. Netflix failed to plan for their subscription growth and the necessary peering arrangements that go with. So what is peering? Not this kind of peering. We're talking internet interconnection peering. Large content providers, like everybody else, must pay to get onto the internet, but they actually have to have more of a strategy than that. They have to work with their ISPs to make sure they have the proper peering arrangements. So what is a peering arrangement? So a peering arrangement is when two ISPs in a certain region decide, instead of going through the backbone, it makes best sense for them to have voluntarily go into a relationship to share data. So with the traffic going from ISP A goes to ISP B and that sort of thing. Generally how this works is, though, when they trade the amount of data that's equal, they do it no cost. They may even do it public peering. But when there is an extreme amount of data going from one content provider to another, one ISP to another, they actually come into arrangements where they pay for that. So this is a visual representation of all the relationships, of peering relationships on the internet. In the United States alone, there's thousands of ISPs, and there are thousands and thousands of peering arrangements that have been gone into voluntarily. All this has been developed out from the free market. In 2015, under Obama, appointed members of the FCC. The FCC moved to move the internet to Title II standing, a statute written to defang the Bell monopolies in 1934. So this gave them broad powers. Only 2 years later, under the Trump administration, Title II was removed. Keep in mind the FCC members are appointed by the sitting president. So there's a lack of consistent rules which will confuse the market, which will impede investments and innovation. And all these rules go back and forth in the political winds. If we're concerned about ISPs censoring content, then we must look at the history of the FCC and its censorship. From a featherless Tweety bird, and that's the uncensored version, so watch your eyes, to 38 years of the Fairness Doctrine, the FCC has never shied away from censorship or voting itself more powers for censorship. The Fairness Doctrine from 1949 to 1987 controlled what broadcasters could transmit and how the content was to be portrayed. So if maintaining unrestricted access to content without censorship is the goal of open internet or net neutrality, then handing over such strong regulatory powers to the FCC with a history of sudden policy shifts, censorship, and taxes will only lead to confusion and less innovation and investment. So I believe Congress should pass consistent bipartisan legislation to protect the concepts of open internet that would be enforced by the FCC, but not allowing the FCC to have an open check. Only Congress can put net neutrality on a sound legal footing. The free market with minimal regulation has created the incredible advancements we've seen today. Until Congress acts, instability and regulation will create confusion and in the future. Thank you.